A U.S. governor's fiery attack on an African hero ignited a global storm. Tonight, Ibrahim Traoré's defiance will leave you speechless. It was a Tuesday morning, crisp and charged, when Florida Governor Ron DeSantis stepped to a gleaming podium in Tallahassee. Flanked by American flags and stone-faced security, his jaw clenched, eyes hard, he unleashed words that scorched the air. Ibrahim Traoré is a rising threat to Western interests. Gasps rippled through the press corps. Reporters blinked, certain they'd misheard. But DeSantis doubled down, his voice deliberate, cutting. Within an hour, the clip erupted online. Hashtags, at Traoré's West, DeSantis speech, blazed across Twitter. Newsrooms buzzed with breaking alerts. In Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, journalists swarmed the presidential palace, hungry for a response. Yet Traoré remained silent, his quiet not a retreat, but a calculated pause. For 24 agonizing hours, the world held its breath. Why would a U.S. governor target a young African leader hailed as a liberator? What simmered beneath the surface? And what had Traoré done to spark such venom? That silence wasn't weakness, it was a chess move. When he finally spoke, the earth would tremble. In the dim presidential office, Ibrahim Traoré sat alone, a single desk lamp casting shadows across his face. A muted TV looped DeSantis's words, a relentless echo. Advisors paced outside, anxious, but Traoré needed solitude, not out of fear, but to strategize. He drew a worn notebook from a drawer, its pages weathered from years of use since he was 17. Inside, scribbled dreams, plans, warnings, and his mother's whispered prophecy. Son, one day your truth will terrify the world. That day had dawned. He flipped to a page titled Western Leverage in Africa, underlining economic dependency with a steady hand. DeSantis hadn't said it aloud, but Traoré knew the real spark: new trade deals with China, Russia, and Pan-African allies, bypassing the IMF's chokehold. No loans, no strings. Burkina Faso was breaking free. The West wasn't just uneasy, it was rattled to its core. Traoré rose, exhaled deeply, and opened the door. "We speak tomorrow," he told his team, not to DeSantis, but to the world. The next evening, a global broadcast was announced, an unedited live interview with President Traoré, aired by a major African network alongside Al Jazeera and RT Africa. But hours before, unease crept in. Studio power flickered, satellite feeds stuttered. 2 crew members reported shadowy figures tailing them. Traoré's bodyguard received a chilling anonymous call: cancel the interview or face chaos. Yet Traoré stood unshaken, his voice steady as he told the crew, "Let them fear us. That's their burden, not ours." At 8 p.m., the camera's red light flared. Traoré, in a dark green jacket, sat tall, the Burkinabe flag behind him, eyes piercing, voice calm but molten. "They brand me a threat because I want my people to eat without begging, to thrive without groveling, to live without kneeling." Across Africa, millions watched, tears streaming. Young men clenched fists, parents held children close. He wasn't defending himself, he was defending a continent, and the truth he unveiled next would fracture global politics. Mid-interview, the host leaned in, voice low. "Why do Western leaders fear you, President Traoré?" Without a flicker, he replied, "Because I've seen their deeds, and I hold proof." He handed a USB stick to the producer, nodding. Seconds later, the feed cut to raw, searing footage. Foreign soldiers torching crops in northern Burkina Faso, farmers wailing, children fleeing, a woman whispering by a poisoned well. They said it was for security. The continent reeled. Viewers wept. Twitter ignited. Traoré truth soared. Western outlets scrambled, labeling the clip unverified, manipulated. But the image of a barefoot child clutching charred, corn-pierced hearts worldwide. This wasn't politics anymore. It was personal. Traoré wasn't just a president. He was a mirror, forcing the world to face its reflection. The next day, a Burkinabe news station aired an interview with Fatima, a woman in a faded yellow scarf, sitting on a wooden bench, her eyes heavy with grief. Her voice quivered. "My son, Karim, was 12. He dreamed of teaching. Foreign soldiers shot him during a village raid hunting rebels, but there were only children playing football." Tears fell as she held up his blood-stained notebook. "Is this a threat to the West?" The interviewer choked up, unable to hide his pain. The clip swept West Africa, stirring sobs in buses, markets, schools. A YouTube comment read, "I haven't wept like this since my mother passed. Traoré fights for mothers like Fatima. May God shield him." Traoré hadn't sought this war, but it now stood at his door, carried in the cries of grieving parents, the voices of the silenced. Watching Fatima's interview, a tear traced his cheek. "This is why I can't yield," he whispered. At 2:14 a.m., Traoré's encrypted phone buzzed. An unknown number from France. A cold, polished voice slithered through. "Mr. Traoré, emotions run high, but you've crossed a line. You're destabilizing the region. Retract your claims, cancel the next interview, or face sanctions, blockades. Worse." Traoré's breath was steady, his reply a quiet blade. "I fear no threats." He hung up. Outside, Ouagadougou's dark streets pulsed with life. Volunteers guarded government buildings. Teenagers and mothers held signs. "We stand with Traoré." In that moment, he saw it. This wasn't just Burkina Faso's fight. It was every African nation's, long silenced, shamed, shackled. DeSantis had struck the match, but Africa would shape the blaze. 2 days later, a video emerged. Not from Africa, but Texas. Private Eric Dawson, a young American soldier, sat in his bedroom, pale, eyes glistening. "I was in Burkina Faso in 2022, he said, voice breaking. "We thought we were fighting terrorists, but some targets were just villagers defending their land." He held up a photo. "This boy, Issa, gave me mangoes. The next day, a drone strike hit the well near his home. He was gone." Eric sobbed, raw and human. DeSantis calls Traoré a threat, but maybe the truth he's exposing is the real danger. His account was suspended hours later, but the video spread like wildfire, re-uploaded thousands of times. Viewers wept globally. One comment read, "I watched with my son. We cried. Protect Traoré." The lies were cracking, and truth's light seeped through. Amid the storm, Traoré did the unthinkable. He slipped from the palace with 2 guards, driving to a rundown orphanage outside Ouagadougou. No press, no cameras. Children ran barefoot in the dust, some reading tattered books under a neem tree. They froze when they saw him. A girl, Aminata, whispered, "Is that the man on TV?" Traoré knelt, smiling softly. "I'm here so you can have a real future." He gave them books, solar tablets, food, supplies. But more than that, he gave time, listening to their dreams. A boy tugged his sleeve. "Will the people who hate you come here?" Traoré's face hardened, voice low. "Not if I stop them. I fight with words, not bullets." A staffer secretly filmed him fixing a boy's broken shoe. The clip leaked, going viral. A comment read, "This is leadership. Sankara's spirit lives." Western media soon blared, "Sanctions loom for Traoré over crimes against democracy." Buried in the fine print, his crime was rejecting IMF debt and aligning with non-NATO partners. No violence, no corruption, just a quest for freedom. Protests erupted in Mali, Niger, Guinea, Senegal. Teenagers graffitied, "If Traoré's guilty, so are we." In New York, ex-UN diplomat Nana Kouyaté went live on Instagram. "This isn't justice, it's fear in a suit. Traoré isn't on trial, Africa is." Her stream hit 12 million views in 48 hours. The threat wasn't Traoré, it was the unstoppable movement he embodied. In a Burkina Faso village, women in white mourned Marama's husband, a volunteer fighter lost to a drone strike, ordered not by Traoré, but a Western ally. without his consent. That night, Traoré visited Marama, sitting on her dirt floor. She wept silently, then asked, "Will my children know truth or TV lies?" His eyes brimmed as he took her hand. "I swear they'll know." A journalist leaked the strike's coordinates, tying it to a U.S. contractor. Justice for Marama trended, turning a silent tragedy into a global outcry. In a Ouagadougou classroom, 12-year-old Boubacar penned a letter to the UN Secretary General. "I sleep on the floor, my school roof leaks, but Traoré gave us food, books, water. Why is he dangerous?" His class wrote 27 letters, their nervous smiles captured in photos. One showed Boubacar with a sign, "We're not threats, we're children." The internet erupted. News anchors wept, reading them aloud. A Hollywood actor tweeted, "If this doesn't move you, nothing will." The children's innocence sliced through borders and headlines. At 3:41 a.m., gunfire echoed in Ouagadougou. Traoré, awake reviewing farm reforms, was rushed by his security chief. "Sir, it's happening." A faction of old regime elites, backed externally, aimed to crush Traoré's schools, farms, and message. But the people fought back. Farmers blocked roads with tractors. Mothers banged pots like war drums. Children chanted, "Leave our future." The coup collapsed, not by guns, but by human shields of love and rage. Traoré emerged at dawn, tearful but calm. "They tried to erase us in the night, but we are the morning." From Haiti to Harlem, Paris to Pretoria, viewers wept. This was sacred. 3 days later, a Ghanaian journalist received an anonymous audio file. A deep American voice said, "If Traoré keeps pushing anti-West rhetoric, we pull funding, create pressure, internal collapse, flood their media, discredit him." The journalist's hands shook as he posted it. Proof of interference in Burkina Faso. The clip went viral, translated into French, Swahili, Mandarin. Traoré, at a packed press conference, held firm. "We don't hate the West, but we won't kneel." He didn't shout. He let truth speak. Critics began to question everything. Then came the West's retaliation. Banks froze Burkina Faso's funds. Aid halted. Hospitals ran dry. Food lines stretched. Children cried for bread that didn't come. A nurse whispered, "I've never seen babies starve like this." Yet Traoré refused anger, addressing his nation, voice trembling. "They thought we'd beg, turn on each other, but we'll share, suffer, and survive, together." A miracle sparked. Farmers donated grain, teachers worked unpaid, mechanics fixed cars for free. No riots, only unity. Burkina Faso didn't break, it became family. The world watched, hearts aching for a people punished for dignity. From Johannesburg, Daba, an activist, spoke on video. "Traoré echoes my father's fight, risking all not for revenge but respect. How are we free if we punish Africans for standing tall?" His words shook the internet. South African kids launched Stand with Burkina, drawing Traoré's face on shirts, chanting his name. In the U.S., students protested in Florida, signs reading, "DeSantis fears hope, we don't." DeSantis stayed silent, but the world roared. At the UN General Assembly, Traoré had 4 minutes. In a simple black suit, his eyes a storm. "Africa isn't your child to shape. We're not your threats, we're awake." Western delegates walked out, but he didn't flinch. "If truth is dangerous, your lies have ruled too long." Back home, crowds wept around radios. A Ouagadougou vendor whispered, "He spoke for us." Times Square flashed his speech, tweeted his speech, tweeted. He had 4 minutes, changed everything. Late one night, a retired U.S. diplomat called Traoré. "You're awakened too. They'll offer your money, security, but they want silence." Traoré hung up, gazing at kids playing soccer with a plastic bottle outside. He told his advisor, We're not here for their approval, but to save our children's future." He rejected aid, launching a Pan-African fund led by Africans. Donations poured from Ghana, Mali, Nigeria, Kenya. Small, but mighty. It wasn't about money. It was dignity, restored. In a rural school, a teacher read a 9-year-old read Traoré's letter. "I'm made me feel Traoré, made it feel like I matter. Even without kids in shoes, even without English." Kids and teachers cried tears. Documentaries aired flowing. Poets poured their hearts out for him. Young leaders quoting him. The Nobel nominated Traoré for courage, saying he defended a continent's soul with grace. Burkina froze. Faso froze. Barefoot kids screamed with joy. Old women knelt in gratitude, shouting Traoré's name. Traoré, watching the dawn, whispered, "For them, not me." He'd carved history, not with war, but with peace, defying surrender. If this story broke your heart, if you wept for the tears, if you believe truth outshines power, don't scroll, don't. Hit like, subscribe. We'll keep these tales alive. Comment what stirred your soul. Drop a for Traoré. Share with someone who's believed in hope. Let's rewrite this narrative together.